wano weewali waaka ebyaffe tetuhaakinga bihaakingi tubijja mu public domain because tulwanyisa dictator.
Gentlemen and others, today we are having Dr. Rina Zedriga, the Vice President of the National Unity Platform. Some people call her the Iron Lady. She has stood the test of time, very vocal, an activist, an ex-judicial officer, a feminist, and the list is endless to say. Allow me, what do you think is democracy, first of all, in the sense of Uganda? And do you really think that democracy is really happening in Uganda, and do people, even Ugandans, actually understand the democracy that we are having and the system and everything? I would love to hear from you what you really think about that.
Yeah, thank you very much. What we are seeing from the 60s, my mother used to tell us that during the time of the independence, she remembers vividly going to vote with me on her back, and she was telling me that even they would come back singing the Democratic Party songs, and then they had their neighbors are singing the UPC songs, you know. That was where it was like a celebration of the different identities and choices. But 2001, we see a degeneration for any alternative identity when it comes to politics, the voice, your power, democracy, going to vote, making sure you influence policies, you're part of it. I voted in the 1980. I was already a young girl, and I voted. It was my first time, and you know, the DPs, and my father was the regional campaign coordinator for Dr. Paul Semogerere, who reached up to our village, by the way. Then my late brother David Ondiatra was a UPC in the same home, and it was okay. Then I started seeing the sense of the exclusion, the current, how we have degenerated into intolerance, into a total political apartheid, even degenerating to colors. Actually, it's no longer democratic participation. There's no more power, separation of powers. You know, under democracies, there should be separation of power, strong institutions, respect for human rights, among others. The parliament is exalted. How many of them now? 500 plus. Judiciary, grappling with all this backlog of cases, underpaid, underfacilitated. Parliament, our president has said, please, that is Museveni has said, the Brown of Uganda has said that, you know, vote for me, anybody, they can come and sleep, but they can wake up to say yes to my own agenda. So we have seen the very systemic degeneration of democracy into a one-person decision, which is now being implemented through militarization of political spaces, through monetization of political spaces and participation, through hatred. For example, when I was arrested, we were arrested, the arresting officers who were military men said, "You are the people we hate most, NUP." Sincerely? A military person? So there's so much partisan, non-tolerant, militarized, you know, bordering barbarism, by the way, right now. We see it in terms of the abductions. So in Uganda, we have left the path of democracy, participation, equality, human dignity, constitutionalism, governance. We have now fallen in the pitch of barbarism, militarization, intolerance, abductions. It's okay to kill so-and-so, and it's fine so long as you can bump this one. And we have no respect whether these are religious people, or these are women, or these are children. It's a very pathetically sick, very annoying situation where we should not have degenerated into that. We shouldn't have. So, what's the lessons for us? One, we should never give up. We should look to people and institutions that are still resilient. For example, my take about myself, I value myself so much. I love myself, by the way, so much, that when I joined, when I was unveiled in NUP, and in August, I was unveiled April 8th, and in August, this Catholic lawyer comes and offers me, and we were having a lunch appointment. He insisted we meet. And we've been, of course, we're in the Lawyers Society together. And we had participated in the last elections together very closely. And then all of a sudden he comes and says, you know, Lina, for this lunch appointment, he's the one who asked. And we met in Kamocha. We met at City Oil. What is that place? Cafe Javas, for lunch. He was late. And I was drinking my chicken mushroom soup. And then he says, he arrives with another third person, and he introduces this person as coming from the CFC as a captain. And then he says, I'm going straight to the point. We are offering you 5 billion. You are asking price. And this is democracy we are talking about in Uganda. We are offering you 5 billion, asking price, and we are giving you 2 big vehicles, and we are going to have a air-conditioned office in the office of the President Museveni. And please, when you say yes right now, I'm going to deliver you to Museveni and Amama Mbabazi, who was your presidential candidate in the 2015 elections. And I think in his wildest dream, he did not even expect that I would say no. He was very sure 5 billion. He even scanned through his phone, you know, so-and-so I brokered, and his was only 600 million, this one, and you know, also the other one is now back, your former president, for the go forward, he's actually now back, and they are talking together, he's going to bounce back in there. So for you, you are so priceless. So we are going to even make sure you choose what ministry you are going to be in. I held my barrel of soup. I almost poured it on him. Let me confess, truth be told, I was consumed by anger. You know, I'm a very emotional person. My northern reality, the women's fighting, advocacy reality, and all the background. I felt so insulted. So his colleague, who was also drinking soup, saw my body language and my struggles. And then he says, please don't worry. Maybe first you take we give you some time to think through. It may be too abrupt for you. And the lawyer, in his arrogance, says, no, you go and pray. Me, I know you're a very prayerful person. So you go and pray over it. And I know you will pray. But you get to us very, very fast. Then I looked ahead. I said, in the event I said no. He bent backwards in a chair like this. And then he was showing me his gun. He says, don't joke. We are capable of doing anything. This is a Catholic lawyer, ex-seminarian. So I left my soup. And I said, I'm actually going to pray right now on that note. And I went. I don't even know I missed to be knocked by a vehicle, because I walked from there to the Catholic church in Kamocha. Yes, the Holy Family. And I went straight to the adoration, and I just laid before the Blessed Sacrament. My emotions running, my anger. I felt my dignity so raped in public. And I was so bitter. I laid everything before the Blessed Sacrament. I fell asleep. I got some peace. But that has not stopped. When I went up north, a number of the young people who around our NUP supporters were bought. They were not bought easily, intimidated. One candidate from Karamoja, she was vibrant, very, very vibrant. They got her mother and said, if you do not step down and accept our offer, we will do what you don't want to know to your mother, whom right now we have. So these buyings, democracy, 2021, you're either bought, you're either bumped off, you're intimidated, We have buried young people in January, in February. Our NUP supporters, our NUP polling agents, because they were going after the declaration forms. We voted for Chagulanyi. We voted for NUP. We protected, but the militarization. I know 3 young people in Obogi who were tied to a stone. They were asked, denounce NUP as a Buganda thing. Denounce NUP. If you do not, we're going to throw you in River Nile. They refused to denounce. They were thrown in River Nile. And may their souls rest in peace. Our candidates were abducted. This is democracy in Uganda.
Ma'am, still on the democracy, there have been circulating information that you didn't do a good job in the north. And even recently, the Jacob Olanya, who is the vice speaker or deputy speaker of the parliament, came out and proudly said that he dismantled the National Unity Platform in the north. And of course, now this is a democracy we're talking about, whereby people are coming out even to confess
the evil.
Let's go also deep into that as we talk about the democracy.
Yeah, democracy, 2021 elections. The whole of Karamoja militarized under Guti. The candidates were no longer sleeping in their houses, brutalized, arrested every time. West Nile, Choli sub-region, Lango sub-region, the people who were recruited in NUP, one from Lango was actually paid, I'm reliably informed, 50 million. She was the Cody secretary or somebody in the Lira office, not Gulu. Right now, I think she's graduating from Chankwanji as a cadre. Okay? And she even came to visit me when I was in jail. That is the buying, the democracy. They have created a number of the Iscariots, you know? And our candidates in West Nile were abducted, especially Haddad, Honorable Chadribo, who stood in against the minister. Haddad was abducted on a Sunday. I was supposed to have represented His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi on his last trip. This was the 10th. Thursday was going to be the voting day, 14th, okay? So I reached Arua on Saturday, and on Sunday, the first thing, and President Museveni decides to go to Arua. And yet that was officially our route. It was our designated route. We were to finish our campaigns in Arua. The man goes to Arua. They removed all our posters. Everything about NUP was, and police and military were the ones pinning his posters. The partisanness, okay, of police and military. And in fact, they even got in problem with the Catholic Church, Christ the King, because they had put there, do not put any posters here. These police and military went ahead and put, and the father was very, very angry and went to the police, and was very, very angry. That's the impunity we're talking about. So, Haddad was abducted on Sunday, the whole of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Haddad was dropped at the South Sudan border on a Thursday. This is a candidate for Arua. Abducted on Sunday, and I was supposed to be abducted with him. But I got tipped off before. And I actually called him, Dad, leave Arua, let us go. And we are better alive. He didn't, and he was abducted. Opingopi, our candidate in Yumbe, was abducted and dropped, beaten, injected with all kinds of things, dropped in South Sudan border. That end. Chadribo, half of our candidates, more the globe, Uganda, all of Western, were more in prison than on a campaign trail. This is the democracy we're talking about. The northern militarization was sanctioned by the president of Uganda and NRM. It is in writing. Militarize. The directive was recruit, buy, disquieten, erase NUP. I have it in evidence, and I think I've sent it to you. You see, he did not deploy those people as he deployed them as a presidential candidate, but in his identity as an authority, as the military, chief of military, and deployed military. One other letter, militarization of democracy, lethally militarization. His brother Salim Saleh comes in northern Uganda to buy. He first offers to buy. As I talk, there is still an offer on my head to buy. Okay? And we're talking of democracy. Post. Okay? So pre-buying, intimidation. Then during the election day, the invisibility. We struggled with our posters. We struggled with our candidates. We struggled with almost everything. Candidates were no longer sleeping in their houses. Then they took us off radio stations. We were not allowed on radio stations. Any radio station or TV that hosted us up north, your license is cancelled. Okay? We were supposed to be at least on social media. It was taken off. Sincerely. What democracy is. Democracy is about voice and power, isn't it? So we were totally silenced militarily. Okay? Then election day, they go for the polling agents. Declaration forms. People have gone through the most horrific experiences. You know, getting these declaration forms, which were genuine. And now putting up a cooked up thing that people had voted. No, we didn't. So what we see, Biabakama struggling with, Justice Biabakama struggling with uncooked results. There's even a South African newspaper, all over we have done the analysis, and they themselves also know, some of them even confess and say, let me be honest, Mama, you people won the election, but we are not going to declare you. They do that, and this is the highest level of hypocrisy and impunity. In democracy, there is no democracy. There is none. We've struggled. We've succeeded in one thing, exposing them. Everywhere. Do you know, denying hotels in Pakwach, in Nakasongola, where, from accommodating our campaign team, from accommodating our president. They will say, no, please do us a favor, don't come here. But there are those who will say, for me, we're going to, have. So what democracy is that? If one presidential candidate is denied everything, even denied the toilet, don't come here. Denied everything. But I want to salute him. He inspired Ugandans in and out that we can demystify militarization. He inspired me, and I salute him. I salute him because he took us to the next level. Because he made us demystify fear. All this militarization, buying and so on, if you don't accept, we are going to arrest your children. We are going to, all that is to put fear in our mind, to capture your mind. What they have feared is that the population has said no. So up north, we won 100%, we won. And we are going to reclaim the declaration of our victory. We will. And that is the democracy we are discussing. The people, women who have been arrested, candidates who have been sodomized. Democracy. Denied access to everything. Democracy. Right now, we have a number of prisoners of conscience innocently held in military places. Innocently tried in military court-martial. I'm one of those who have stood as a surety. And I've been going to Machindi every time. The Nubian Liz, I salute you. Eddie Mutwes, Kampala, the girls even, their spirit is still very, very high. Their wives, their mothers, their grandmothers walking, trekking from all over. And then also I'm aware of those simply because they were traveling from Arua as casual laborers and found with the NUP membership card. Fabiano, we buried him 2 weeks ago. He was so brutalized. 2 of them died on the spot and they have been buried in undisclosed mass grave in Luwero. 1 is still missing. We have so many missing people. When I was in up north, in Arua for the burial, somebody actually came to me and said, Mama, We also have people who are arrested and captured from the west, from the central. They are brought to Koboko. We have mass graves in Koboko. We now have mass graves all over in Uganda. This is a fact. We are no longer sleeping in our places. The drones have become drones. Many women, young women, I had crossed from the comfort of being a magistrate to stop any woman from experiencing widowhood or missing husbands in their early ages or whatever in Uganda. I thought I was ending it. Little did I know, actually, by participating here, we are now aiding and abetting the mass presence of young widows who do not know where their husbands are. Young orphans who do not know where their fathers are. Majority of Ugandans are living with no closure of the presence and whereabouts of their husbands or spouses, including women, by the way. The women who are arrested and what they have gone through, the most horrific, the most barbaric experiences possible. Your nipples clipped with pliers. They're asking, what is plan B? A man pushing his hands in your vagina that he's looking for plan B. Okay? You are gang raped so that you can confess plan B, what it is. Up north, they're saying, please denounce NUP. It is a Buganda thing. We will release you. Okay? The NRM and the militarization is just on panic button. Okay? And they have now also dragged in the Electoral Commission. They have dragged in the court, which has lost. The temple of justice is now the temple of injustice. It is. You have seen the tall chief justice of Uganda descending on the floor as a complainant. Grabbing a fellow judge, Supreme Court. We are not talking of a magistrate grade 2 in Gomba or anywhere. We are talking about the Supreme Court of the Republic of Uganda. The Chief Justice grabbing the file of his fellow judge. Away, confiscating a file. We have succeeded in laying bare the hidden, for long hypocritically dressed injustices, brutalities of Uganda. That's one thing I salute NUP for. I salute the cameramen, like this one who just went and voted classically in an ambulance, you know, Ashraf. I salute them. I salute all those who were beaten with us, brutalized in front of the office of the Human Rights Commission in Kololo. We were going to take a petition, and that's where they followed to brutalize at the gate of the UN Office of the Human Rights in Uganda. I was there. The guy just missed me and went for the member of Nyeko, the MP elect of Machinde, because he's taller. At the gate. And even smashing his vehicle, windows, windscreens, and beating up, you know, camera people, and, you know. And then with impunity, releasing, oh, you know, for Lina here, she has to be assassinated immediately. You know, she has. These are the people to be assassinated. You know, as if we are chicken to be slaughtered. We are not. And the crime is what? Because we are staunch NUP members, and we also love justice. So, what is our way forward as Ugandans, as we lay bare this? For NUP, we have said we are servant leadership entity. We have committed non-violence. We will engage all democratic processes, peace, and I am a peace advocate in practice. Actually, there's a small car I had, Fiat Uno. I put on it, I'm a peacemonger in practice. Okay? We are fearless. We have inspired communities to continue to be focused, to continue to refuse to be intimidated and boxed to hopelessness, to continue to celebrate our identity as Ugandans, to continue to reclaim and demand for justice, demand for our stolen victory, continue to demand for the release of all those prisoners of conscience unconditionally. We demand it. We also want answers and explanations and closures for the Peters whose father was murdered on the way to Kachira. For the institutions whose leaderships are dying under very mysterious circumstances, which mysterious circumstance of death is preceded by a vocal call to justice. So there's a direct correlation for what these spiritual leaders have stood for and their mysterious death. A mysterious death that actually was predicted by, among other people, Lumbuye. How did he know? Eh? So these are things that are crafted, planned, and executed. And may the soul of the Archbishop rest in peace, but also watch on us from above as we continue to seek for justice and true democracy for Uganda. Uganda is bleeding. Ugandans are crying all over for justice. All we need is justice. All we need is peace. All we need is the restoration of our stolen victory. I want to thank Archbishop Odama. He spoke about dialogue, about peaceful coexistence. We need in Uganda an honest dialogue and speaking the truth at all levels. And we're demanding for it by day. Okay? These deaths are so obviously orchestrated. You can see. And it's still their plan for more. Some of us are 1 or 2 on the list. Okay? But we're not going to be intimidated by that. I will not. I will not. So what do? We walk as teams, as Ugandans. We refuse to be back in the closet. We came out of the closet thanks to President Sentamu Robert Chagulani. He opened our closets and we all walked out. Even our skeletons walked out and followed us. We are not going back to those closets. We have to remain out, and we have to remain out organized. We have to remain out resilient. We have to remain out unintimidated. We have to remain out very organized and very peaceful. Yes, because this is our country. It's a constitutional right for us to speak, for us to act, for us to participate, and reclaim the Uganda where the Linas grew up, where it was okay for me and safe to walk in the streets. But now, as I'm walking, I'm reading from a, please do not leave, do not be in your house right now. You run. Banang. It's not the Uganda where I have to live. Oh, so and so. You don't trust. Now that my child is there, you cannot take it again. You throw it away. We have degenerated too much morally, militarily. We have. But it is time also, it takes us to reclaim and sanitize Uganda. People are, where's Stella? She had to go. Why? No. Now it is Stella. The next time it is somebody else. The next time. We must go back to the drawing board. And it is incumbent on all of us to do our part peacefully.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.